Today's guest is covered in tattoos, belongs to a biker gang, and has worn a Dallas Cowboys jersey into court. He has been called the most unlikely DA in America. Marc Gonzalez is here to share his story. Hi, I'm Emily LaRouche. Are you ready to make the journey from lawyer to entrepreneur? Every week, I'm sitting down with people who have mastered the art of running a business and want to share with you the lessons they've learned along the way. Join me as we experience the highs, the lows, and everything in between as we learn, share, and grow together. Welcome to Share the Love. Marc, take me back to the moment you first thought about being a lawyer.
Well, thank you for the introduction first off, but it's a biker club, not a gang.
Okay,
It's a
biker
small
club.
distinction. With that being said, I had no idea about becoming a lawyer at all. I knew I never wanted to get in trouble or go to jail, but eventually it happened. So I was 19 years old. I was at a party and I made a bad decision to drive home, and under the influence, and I got stopped and I got arrested, and I went to jail that night for driving while intoxicated in Kingsville, Texas, which is a small town. So like anything else, I called my parents, my mom and my dad, and they both came to bail me out. They were divorced, so both came, and I got out of jail. And then what next? So 60 days, 90 days later, I get a letter in the mail, and it says I have court, and I'm like, what do I do? I had no idea of what to do at that point in time. So my mom says, "Mijo, I'll go with you." And just plead guilty and they'll be nice. Sure enough, that's not the way it works. So I took my mom. We sat in court. I talked to the prosecutor and I got 1 year probation, year analysis, monthly reporting, community service, all the standard things that everybody else got. I didn't get railroaded in any way, but I didn't get hooked up either. And then maybe Pilot that was standing right next to me, he had a lawyer because there was a base there in Kingsville, and his case got dismissed. And I just looked over and I looked at him and I looked at his lawyer and I'm looking at my mom and I'm like, dude, this just, it made me kind of upset. And I was like, you know what? This is BS. Like, I should become a lawyer. I wish I had a lawyer. So that way, all my friends don't have to bring their mom. They could bring me. And so that's kind of where I got the idea to even try to go to law school. I didn't know any college graduates, to be honest with you, or anyone, any lawyers, any judges, or anyone. And it wasn't like it is today. You can't just Google, how do I go to law school? In 1998 or 99, when this all occurred, the internet was in its infancy. So, I mean, look how we're talking right now. So it wasn't available, but I just talked to people who I could at my school. And that's how I kind of said, you know what, I want to be a lawyer.
Did any of your friends laugh at you?
You know, I was kind of embarrassed myself. Like when I would tell people, like, "What do you want to do?" "Oh, I want to be a lawyer." Sure, college boy. That's something that we ever really thought was possible. Like first to even go to college is something that most people don't do. Like we either go to the refinery or we go to the oil field. I mean, that's where the bulk of my family and friends work in that industry, and those things provides great food and money and puts a lot of food on the table for our communities. So when you say, "Oh, I'm going to go to college," that's like, "Oh, you think you're big stuff." And then further than that, oh man, that's something completely out of the box. So for me, I didn't really want to brag about it because I didn't know that I could even do it. I said, "Hey, I'm going to try to go to regular college, see if I'll graduate." I did. "I'm going to try to apply at a law school and see if I get in somewhere," and I did. "I'll try to see if I can graduate law school," and I did. And then take the bar 3 times and pass it. And now, and that's when I became a lawyer. So it was kind of just a step-by-step process, but I definitely wasn't bragging about, "Hey, I'm going to be a lawyer," because, it was just something that we don't do.
Wow. So you finished law school and you started off defending criminals, right?
So, citizens accused of crime, what I would
Citizens
like to say.
accused, not guilty, as displayed by the brilliant tattoo.
Yes. So when I finished law school, I was 285 out of 286, and I like to brag about that because I made it, but and I almost didn't, but I did. And so when I got out because of my DWI, I knew I couldn't get a job at the prosecutor's office. I mean, that's what most people did, right? And I never wanted to be a prosecutor. I always wanted to defend my friends or people accused of crimes. And so I just kind of hung out my shingle and just started helping out family and friends. And that sort of led to more family, more friends and friends of them. And before I knew it, I was very at a prominent practice, and it all started with helping out my friends and family.
Did you ever feel like kind of a traitor for switching sides, or how did that progression work?
No, it is the ultimate takeover. Think about just guerrilla warfare and going in and ambushing the enemy, So I think it was the smartest thing that I could do as an advocate and as a defense attorney. A lot of people say, oh, you're the district attorney, or oh, you're this or that. No, I'm a defense attorney who got elected to be the district attorney, and you still have to have that same mentality. At least I do. Besides being an attorney, I'm a businessman as well, and I try to bring that mentality to the courthouse as the district attorney. What is smart? What makes sense? How can we save money? And one of the main ways that I try to save money is keeping people out of jail that don't belong in jail.
So, speaking on that, one of my favorite things that you talk about is being smart versus being tough on crime. So, what is your take on that?
So I think the two can coexist. I think that they should coexist, and they definitely do exist, at least here in Nueces County. We try to be smart on crime. So right now, what we're trying to do is implement a cite and release program. What that means, if you are arrested for the 7 that are allowed by Texas legislator for officers to give you discretion to not make an arrest, then you don't go to jail. Now that'll save officers, number one, a ton of time. They don't have to bring someone in for a joint or someone who stole some earrings from J.C. Penney's and put that person in jail. They can give them a citation and they can come to our office and we can work it out. What does that do for that person? Well, it doesn't subject them to a horrible place, to be honest with you. And that saves the county tons of money because if somebody goes to jail and they get hurt in jail, the county's liable for it. Or if somebody goes to jail and they have a medical condition, then the county has to take care of that medical condition. If we keep them out of the jail, we don't have to pay for those things or take on that liability. Also, they also don't have an opportunity to get hurt by other inmates, other dangerous people who probably belong there. And so that's how we're being smart on crime. One of the things that we did immediately was on a marijuana. We dismissed your case ultimately. Now you have to pay us a small fine and do a class online, but your case gets dismissed. And we don't care if it's your first one or your 100th one. It's gonna be dismissed. Now we do that for a lot of reasons. I think that I don't want to be a part of a problem where you're losing your financial aid from college for those individuals who want to better themselves, or you lose your housing because anytime that you have those types of convictions on your record, you lose housing or a lot of federal funding. So my office doesn't want to be a part of that. So that's one of the ways that we are trying to focus on being smart on crime. But we're definitely tough on crime.
Where it counts.
Exactly. So being a progressive district attorney, a lot of people, and I'm going to D.C. Next weekend to speak at a conference, and some people always ask me, how can you consider yourself progressive if you still have the death penalty? And I often tell them, well, we're smart on crime, but we also take a stance in being tough on crime. One of the cases we have here is where a gentleman beat his wife to death, and also caused the murder or the homicide of their unborn child. The way she was murdered, in a way, is something that I think that the question should be asked to a jury: is that person eligible for death? I don't advocate for the death penalty, but what I do advocate for all the time is allowing the community to decide. Mm-hmm. If they tell me, you know what, he's not guilty, shoot, he walks, I'm fine with that. If they tell me he deserves to be life in prison without the possibility of parole, I'm fine with that too. And if they say, you know what, his actions, the consequence is death, however many years down the road, after you exhaust all the appellate type of time frames, then I'm fine with that too. But that should be a question that is asked to the jury.
I feel like you're smart, but also tough on crime. approach makes you so likable by both conservatives and by liberals alike. I just think you're such a man of the people, and you're so likable.
What I try to tell people is, because don't get me wrong, there are tons of conservative individuals here. Sorry, my there are tons of conservative individuals in my county who are like, they still have issues with the way I look, or even the way I dress, or how I present myself. But one thing that they kind of understand is money. Everybody who's conservative or has issues can understand how to save a buck. And that can bring so many parties together, people from one side of the aisle to the other, when we're actually being smart and we're saving the county money. If it makes sense, then why wouldn't we do it? And if we can show them that we're saving them thousands of dollars, with our site and release program alone, will save our county $24,000
That's
from
incredible.
individuals being incarcerated, even for one night, and sometimes over the weekend, 2 nights. Some of the programs that we have, at least in our marijuana and pretrial diversion program, because also if you get driving with a license invalid, if you get a conviction in Texas, it triggers an additional suspension and then an additional suspension. And so we didn't want to be a part of that. So we entered pretrial diversion programs with our marijuana. And so over the course of our last year, we generated over $500,000. And so that is real community service, when that monies are taken and actually given back to the community for programs and charities that we've actually donated to. I mean, how can even the most conservative people say, you know what, that's not a good thing?
Absolutely. As a citizen, we're all looking for leaders who are going to get smarter with the way that the government's spending our money. And you're right. I think that can resonate with all parties. So, what's next for you?
I can honestly say that my county is stuck with me for almost 2 years and 6 more months. They're pretty much stuck with me, and I plan to run one more term. I think that my county and my commitment to being the district attorney is at least for 2 terms. I don't see myself running for an additional term after that. I don't think somebody should be in office for forever and ever. You need to get out of there. You need to have fresh people in who have better perspectives. Maybe I get tired and jaded. I don't know. But I don't think that I should be here any more longer than 2 terms. We'll see. Maybe we're rocking and rolling, and the community says, you know what, we still need you because we don't feel anyone else is capable, or may go back to the old ways. Because that's what could happen. All the progress that we've made in just this year and a half, if I get voted out in 2020, I mean, it can go back to, hey, jail time for marijuana, hey, convictions for driving with license invalid. And to me, that's the scariest thing. But we hope to do such a great job that I know I'm going to have an opponent. I mean, Republicans are coming for me. I've already people asking to back them up when they run against me. So I know it's coming, and I welcome it. It should be that way. But I'm gonna run for at least 2 terms, and then who knows what is gonna happen after that. I know that I would love to serve my community, my county, and my state in whatever capacity and whatever level I can. But I know I want to be able to be a lawyer and do it. Right now, all I can be is the district. Sorry, that was a Freudian slip. Defensive is the district attorney right now, and I love my job, and it's something that has been the most rewarding thing. But I also want to engage in other business as a lawyer.
Wonderful. All right. So, I've got some rapid fire questions for you. All
Go
right.
for
These
it.
are going to be tough. Are you ready?
Let's
All
see. Let's.
right. Snacks, salty or sweet?
Uh, my I would say sweet because I love sweets, but my diet would say salty because no carbs.
Oh, we're all trying to keto, right?
You know it every day.
Awesome. What is your dream bike?
My dream bike, actually, the one I have is a road glide. I love road glides. I would like maybe something a little bit more flashy, but these days I try to stay under the radar. Something that's stock and just gets me to where I need and have loud radio, place to put my gear. I'm happy with.
Awesome. What is your favorite tattoo?
Obviously, my favorite tattoo was my not guilty on my chest, but that was just before I got my wife's name on my stomach, so that one's my favorite tattoo.
Oh,
I don't say that, she'll kill me, so I
good
have to.
answer.
My wife's name.
You're a smart man. All right. What has been the best day so far as a DA?
You know, I think we have so many good days, and every day we make a difference. It's one of the best days. You know, they're hard all the time, but I can say whenever I got sworn in, that was probably the best day as being the DA. You know, it's like it was official, and I'm driving home sometimes. I'm like, man, I'm the DA. Like it is crazy. I don't know how to do it sometimes.
From a guy who says, maybe I'll finish college, maybe I'll go to law school and finish, maybe I'll be a lawyer, maybe I'll pass the bar, hey, maybe I'll run for DA. I don't think there's anything that could stop you from anything.
Yeah, well, I'm very blessed. And you know, one of the people, a lot of people say I'd rather be lucky than good. I would say that I'm lucky, and this is all fate. I mean, if you ask me, I get in trouble. I figure out what I want to do. I graduate 285 out of 286. I took the bar 3 times, passed by 1 point. I get elected as DA. I think somebody's got my back, and it can only be God.
It's incredible and inspiring to anyone who might question whether they have it in them to go out there and follow their own dreams. That, hey, you should give it a shot. Maybe it'll work.
If I could do it, anyone could do it.
Awesome. All right. And last, how can our viewers connect with you if they want to learn more about you?
Okay, so we have a Facebook is the way we make most of our connections, or I always tell people to email my office administrator. She's sitting in front of me, so she's not liking that. Jessica.bettis@nuecesco.com. We're always looking for volunteers and people to come to our office and assist us in any way. The work we have is hard, but we know that it needs to be done, and so we make it a pleasant environment.
Marc Gonzalez, Nueces County District Attorney, thank you for being here.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me. To all your listeners out there, it was a pleasure.
Thank you, Marc. Okay, have a great day. I'm going to let you go. I know you're a busy man. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Share the Love. Make sure to give us a thumbs up, share, and subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, and Google Play to get the latest content.